Back to my channel again. Today I'm going to show you one of the example of data analysis which I did some time ago about analyzing the Melbourne housing market data set. This data set is available in kaggle. I chose this data set because it was available, directly available, and it is very useful for us either in academic research, data analysis training, or in applying to a real world scenario where you want to determine if the housing price is overpriced or underpriced. So I think this data set is very interesting. So in this video, I'm going to show you the comparison between the GPT-4o and my own project analysis. So on the left-hand side, I ask the ChatGPT to process this dataset, and on the right-hand side, I'm going to show you what I did. So basically, let's first look at the ChatGPT. First of all, I ask it to analyze this dataset by providing this URL. It cannot directly solve this URL, so it asks me to upload this CSV. Okay, so I uploaded this CSV. It started by showing the head of the dataset and so on. Okay, it starts to process the data, and I did not define the exact models that I wanted to examine to run. So it actually it started thinking about which model is the best model to start the supervised learning process. Eventually, after checking the data set and so on, it started to suggest the three models: linear regression, decision tree, and random forest. If you are not familiarized with all these models, I suggest you to check the information of each model to make sure that you understand how it works. Okay, these are the very popular supervised learning models. So let's see how it does. I really like that the GPT tries to put all the models in a bundle, and it uses a for loop to actually try the different models. It's quite neat, this code structure. My project, when I tried to run different models, I did not have such neat coding structure. I actually write for each supervised learning strategy. I actually write independent code in the R environment. So let's see how it goes. So basically, GPT starts to train these models and found that one of the model took too much time, so it actually stopped. So tried a simplified version, and eventually it manages to train two models: linear regression and decision tree. So this means that if you give ChatGPT a very open, very wide question, it will, of course, try to exhaust some of the possibilities to reach a comprehensive result. But eventually, if it cannot give an immediate result, or the process actually takes too much of the compute, it will reduce the complexity and give you an intermediary or simpler version. So it starts to, because in my prompt I asked it to analyze the overfitting issue. It started to plot and so on. And you see the connection was interrupted. So I really don't know why there was an interruption of the connection, because my internet is always connected. However, let's see, it tried again. But there is still technical issue. So basically, by showing the plot, I do not think it's a very daunting task, very difficult task, but GPT cannot do it. So later, I still do not see any graph. However, it gave me some conclusion. I think just like any product, internet product, they do not want the user to wait too long. Otherwise, it will be a very, very inconvenient way to lose a user. So just to briefly show you, I don't want to go to the very detail of each line of code and the result, but I can tell you this is it does not consider the complexity of the dataset. It did not show the steps of handling missing value. If you need to scale the variables, if you need to take a log value or not, and um, the, for me, this is a very rudimentary and a very basic form of analysis. However, if you are interested, you can try to focus on only one model and see if that one model can be better handled by GPT. Let's look at the right-hand side, my project presentation. So basically, I did both supervised learning and unsupervised learning techniques to analyze this data set. Today, I'm going to focus only on the supervised learning part because I already got some response from GPT. I just want to show you that if you are going to analyze a very complicated data set, I mean, this is not very complicated, but in a sense that GPT find it complicated to implement different learning algorithms. I really suggest you to really get your hand dirty and try to solve the problem yourself. But of course, if you need some coding assistance, you need to clarify some of the concepts, you can use GPT. But remember, always interpret the result from GPT with great caution. So, first of all, I tried to use the most simple one of linear regression, but it also incorporated the feature engineering and the AIC step to find the best models, just to shrink down the independent variable size or the feature numbers. So basically, first of all, we need to have a clear idea what are the variables, categorical variables and numerical variables. So then, in the analysis, I would suggest you to always have a histogram to see all the variables. For example, even if you directly go to see the price variable, it will be very skewed and have a very concentrated in a specific range. So in that case, you will notice that it is not a very good sign. So you need to have a strategy to actually do the feature engineering, actually to find a better variable to explain the value of the house. So I'm going to show you later. Okay, so here, like you see here, if I take a log value of the price per building area, so the value will be more, how can I say, closer to the normal distribution. It will not just concentrated in a very specific range, and it will give you more, how can I say, a distributed sense. At this moment, I do not go to very technical terms. I just want you to understand. For example, if in a daily basis, I want to understand the situation, I try to use some terms that I understand better. But if you are going to write a paper, if you are going to discuss it in some academic situation, I really recommend you to make sure that all the wordings, all the terms are very statistical and really about the essence of the statistical concepts. So here I just try to use some plain language to explain to you. So basically, all the variables, like I said, you try to examine its property and to decide if you like. I do not use a price directly. I use price per building area because I think it makes more sense, and because the distribution was not very dispersed, so I decided to take a log value to make sure that the scale does not impact the distribution largely. Then about the other variables, of course, when I actually do the analysis, all of the variables are scaled. So if you are handling this dataset, of course, you need to ask some questions. So if you already have some domain knowledge about the housing market, I think you should make some assumptions. You should understand that, for example, like I understand, the property price change over time. So if the dataset contains one housing price at the beginning of the year, the other one at the end of the year, this information actually can change drastically. And if I'm only analyzing it using the simple linear regression, of course I'm ignoring this factor, so my result will be biased. And the factors that influence the price may not be easily exhausted, which means that there may be more than the factors that's shown in this dataset. So you need to be prepared that the regression result may not be so accurate. And of course, the factors that influence the price, for example, subjectively, based on the agent and seller and the buyer's judgment and so on, these are many human factors that could impact your analysis. And based on is like a rule of thumb. If you are going to implement the supervised learning algorithm, or even unsupervised learning algorithms, it is suggested that you scale the data. Do not let the scale of the data to impact your analysis. And also pay attention to the dummy variable, because in one of my analysis, in the following page, you are going to see that if the dummy variable is too many, it actually creates more complexity to your interpretation of the models. And always pay attention to the outliers. Outliers may be business opportunity, maybe a bargain, but most of the time it will just make your model derail, just show you more, make your model more impacted by the outliers. So about the methodology and so on, I'm going to go quickly. Especially there is the AIC process. The AIC process is actually optimization process to help you to choose the best and most significant independent variable. So linear regression assumptions, they are very intuitive. If you're interested, you can check it. I'm going to go over. So here, I'm going to show you the models. So basically, if you are going to ask GPT to do all these complicated matrix, I doubt it, because you see, I have different strategies to handle the feature engineering design, to manually select the features or use the AIC procedure, and I can also subjectively implement the outlier treatment methodology. For example, like the first two columns, you can see that I actually set value threshold to actually eliminate some of the outliers. So basically, here I'm trying in different scenarios to see which one is the best situation to do the linear regression. About the selection of the variables, because we also have the choice of distance or cluster. So there are also different choice. For example, if you calculate the distance of each house from the center, you're going to get an additional variable. It's called distance. Or if you already use a clustering, k-means clustering, to separate these housing these house regions, you are going to get another dummy variable. It's a subjective choice. Okay, you can try. Um, the reason that you introduce additional dummy variable is just to make sure that you understand the distinction between the different regions or different dummy variable, and to actually have a better understanding if your clustering really makes sense. For example, if we are separating in the Melbourne region into 4 regions, sometimes it doesn't make sense because each block has different characteristic, also the different price range. As you can see here, traditionally we use adjusted R square as um, the the fit, okay, to see if the model is fitting well to the data. So by this sense, 55% of the accuracy on the stepwise regression to use the AIC procedure to choose the best variable. And also, I took a log transformation of the price per building area. So here, I just want to say either you build the models step by step or you interact with the GPT and so on. Always make sure that eventually you are going to compare all the metrics of the algorithms and to have a better idea to see the trade-off. Because here you see that we have many dummy variables in the stepwise regression, best of our combo log this model. So when you interpret such a complicated model in business scenario, it's very hard. So you need to have a balance. So if you choose, for example, the second column, the distance, and a simpler model, it's easier to interpret. Okay, you can have more direct interpretation. You do not need to say, okay, now we have this house in a specific block, and the price is blah blah blah. Okay, when you are going to describe the general situation of the whole region, a simpler model will give you more flexibility. But if you have a more complicated model, you are going to be more accurate, and of course you need to know which is the reason that gives it such better enhanced precision. For me here, I think the main reason is that we introduced many dummy variable about the different small regions of the city. So there is also always a trade-off. So I really doubt that GPT can grasp such details when you are going to implement different models. So use GPT with caution. Here you can pause to check. These are more detailed descriptions and also the model itself, which variables were in the regression. And always take one final look back to the model itself, the best model. So eventually, if you still find many of the assumptions of the linear regression was validated, the model itself may not be the best. But from the beginning to the end, you know how to handle your data, you know which choice you made to choose the independent variable, the features, and of course you know exactly which model for which reason is the best, and when necessary how you make a trade-off in the real scenario when you implement these algorithms. So these are the key findings through my analysis. So I will not repeat it. You can check it. It's not comprehensive, but it can give you some idea that always own your data, own your analysis procedure. Do not 100% rely on a large language model. It can help you code, it can help you to organize the data, or even help you improve the data handling process. But always remember to use it carefully. That's all for today. I wish you like this video. So basically, this video just give you some comparison between the new GPT model about data analysis with the human lead data analysis results. It may still not be very conclusive and comprehensive. I really suggest you to try for yourself, and remember that tools are tools. Use it carefully, and we may improve ourselves better and faster. If you have any question, any doubt, any video that you want to see in the future, feel free to let me know. And see you next time. Bye bye.